Hello and welcome to Center Stage, where the lights are shining brightly. Thank you for joining us today on Center Stage. It's a new program in the Sioux Falls School District where we are shining the lights on the very bright spots we have in our district in terms of employees. And Dr. Boyd Perkins is here with us today. He's the Fine Arts Coordinator for the Sioux Falls School District. So we're going to spend the next half hour learning a little bit about Boyd, what brought him to Sioux Falls, his musical passions and love for fine arts, and also some things coming up in the future of Sioux Falls Public Schools. So welcome, thank you for joining us. You're our second guest on Center Stage, so we're just setting the course for this new show. So
thank you.
Here we go.
I'm excited.
Yeah, very good. Well, tell us a little bit about yourself and how it is that you found your way to the Sioux Falls School District.
Well, great. I found my way to the Sioux Falls School District. I was serving as a department chair and director of bands at Northern State University for the past 13 years, especially as director of bands there while I was there. And I've always been real committed to K-12 education in the state. I was in teacher education at Northern State University. And I found a passion for administration. While I was doing that, I was director of bands, which is a highly administrative, intensive job anyway. But I found my way, and then this opportunity opened up, and we were interested in moving to Sioux Falls, and I thought this was a great opportunity to just use my skills and help kids grow in the fine arts in a fantastic school district.
Wonderful. Well, tell us a bit about your own development in fine arts and your past in terms of musically, what you've played or what your passions are in terms of the fine arts.
Well, I grew up in Perkins, and my mother was an elementary art teacher. My position is not just a music position. It is fine arts, speech, debate, oral interp, all of the arts, K-12 fine arts programs, and music and drama. It's really all encompassing. And my mother was an elementary art teacher, and so I grew up being involved in fine arts and all the events going on involved with that. And I went through the Brookings school system and got involved heavily, especially in music, but I was also involved in drama, and became real heavily involved with that. Got a music education degree at South Dakota State.
Go Jacks.
In fact, I think we were there about the same time.
We were.
But I got a music education degree at South Dakota State, and then moved to Iowa, where I was teaching high school in Spirit Lake, Iowa for quite a few years. Went on, got my master's and doctorate at the University of Iowa, and then was teaching in Minnesota. From Minnesota, I went to Northern, and then ended up right here. So I've been professional conductor for a long time, and now I've shifted into an administrative role.
Wonderful. Well, that is a trail that took you out of the state, came back into the state. There's no place like home, right?
That's right, and I really love South Dakota. I love the feel of the state. It's very nice. Yeah.
And we do have some fantastic young musicians in our communities across South Dakota as well. The abilities of our students are quite amazing when you really stop and think about it.
And absolutely, and South Dakota may be a smaller state, but there's certainly the talent and the support for the fine arts in South Dakota is very strong in the public schools. The Sioux Falls schools, for example, the Sioux Falls schools are absolutely phenomenal in their support of the fine arts in the area of music. In fact, we have all-state chorus and orchestra auditions going on as we speak. Just dated us a little bit there.
That's okay.
But Sioux Falls always has the most per capita participants in those ensembles and very high involvement in those. In the fine arts, we have the programs that we have in our K-12 schools are really phenomenal. All students receive in the elementary level art education from a certified art teacher, and as they move into the middle and high school, they move into take those as electives, but it's really fine programs in the arts. In the theaters and all the schools, we have opportunities just abound for students, and also in speech and debate, also in the high schools as well.
I'm always impressed. We have the opportunity down at our main office, the Instructional Planning Center, artwork on some of the billboards there, the student artwork, and I'm just fascinated by the abilities. I grew up in a small school district that did not have a certified art teacher at that time. So we were cutting and pasting and, doing those things and calling that, which again is a great art form, beginning art form, but nothing to the intensity of the drawing, the photography, the really focused art that I see that our students are doing today. And I so wish I was back in the Sioux Falls public schools for that particular reason, because there's just some phenomenal instructors, our teachers, and the accolades or the abilities of our students are just amazing.
And a lot of our art teachers have a private art practice as well, so they're producing art professionally and are able to have it really enhances their teaching ability. We call that research or developing their craft. That's literally what they're doing. And when they do that, they can pass that right on to the students. A lot of our other music teachers do that as well, play professionally in addition to teaching. So.
Right, and we have the symphony here in Sioux Falls that is a great outlet for those music instructors, our instructors, to play professionally.
Yeah, we have several of those instructors that participate and play in the South Dakota Symphony as well. And we have jazz, people playing jazz, and we have other type opportunities like that going on all the time as well.
Absolutely. One of the things I've said to my own kids pretty much since birth is, I don't care what you decide to do with athletics. I'm behind you 1,000%. But one requirement in my house is involvement in music, in some form of music, whether that's choir, singing, or instruments, or whatever the case is. But that is a requirement to live in my house, is you have to be involved in music. I so love what it did for me, the friendships, lifelong friendships that were built, on those long band trips, riding the bus, or the choir, just the camaraderie that you have in a choir and such. And so talk a little bit about what music does for us and for the brain, and why it's so important to the development of an adult.
Well, music is really core to the human experience. Everywhere you go, most people have music surrounding them, either in their car, whether they're actively listening or passively listening. Most businesses you go into have music constantly playing. It's really part of the human experience. Oftentimes you'll notice in our adult education courses, a lot of those courses are for lifelong learners. People may be retired who want to go back and learn about music. It's very, especially as we age, we start to appreciate the finer expressive parts of ourselves. And that's really what the music is all about, is learning about not only our culture and the history of music that's happened, but also about the personal human experience that is artistic outpouring. And it really is a development of the creative individual, the type of individual that not only can do the other core subjects, but can also be involved in a creative aspect and then use that to grow their other academics that they're involved in. They're really a dynamic individual when they're involved in the fine arts. It expands their ability to communicate, their ability to think creatively, and to appreciate beauty. And that's really what we do. I mean, I can't imagine architecture without the study of the fine arts, or aesthetically anything that you're involved with. So that's really what we do, and I just think it's absolutely core to the human experience that we expand on that.
Wonderful. Well, this question just popped into my mind. Who would be someone that you look up to musically or in the area of fine arts professionally? I'm an 80s girl, so take me back to the 80s rock and roll type of experience. But tell me, Boyd, about who you looked up to, or who you currently look up to.
Well, with my background, it's hard for me to pinpoint one person.
Okay.
Because it's hard for people to really imagine what especially before I got here, but what I was doing on a daily basis. I was surrounded, before I came here, literally for 25 years with students creating music all day. And I was surrounded with teachers teaching students to create music all day. If you can imagine living that life it's very different than, for example, walking into the office I work now, where it's mostly people sitting at their computer busily doing
Sure.
management work.
Sure.
So for me to pinpoint one person, I personally, I like what music can do for me spiritually. I find that very uplifting. I listen to a lot of music that lifts me spiritually, and so I just find that it speaks to me that way, and that's what I do right now. I also have a huge classical music collection. I have 2 degrees in conducting. I love wind band especially. I listen to a lot of wind band music, which is, unlike the orchestra, it doesn't have the strings in it. It has that background, and the United States is very unique in that regard. I have a lot of background in marching band. I love marching bands. I have background in musical theater. I love musical theater as well. And like I said before, I just can't imagine a world without the fine arts in it. So that's where I am with these things.
Can't pick just one.
I cannot, no. I pretty much, that's all I do all day is look at these things.
Right. Well, and that benefit, like you said, what it does for us as people. And I think we don't really stop and think about, as you said, how music has surrounded us. And it's not really even a choice sometimes that we're making. You get in the car and you turn the radio on, or you show up at a store and there is that background music, and so even if you say you're not involved in the arts or you're not committed in some way, you don't ever really get away from it.
It's in your life every day, and if you just think of a television show or a movie, if you think of, a lot of people may not listen to the music on a regular basis when it comes to that, but when you think of how that influences what's going on, in fact, it's very noticeable if you ever have a program where there's no music involved. It changes the whole feel of it, and they can use music to influence the emotional aspect of those programs immensely.
Absolutely, yeah. Just stop and listen once, specifically not to the script or the verbal content, but to the background noise, the laughter that might be inserted at a particular time does change emotion. The scary music behind in a drama series or something along that line, that it is really influential into how we exist.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. What was there anything that surprised you when you showed up in Sioux Falls about, or you thought, gosh, this is great that this is happening here? Anything particular that you can draw out that you're really pleased to see in the Sioux Falls School District?
Well, the interesting thing for me in the Sioux Falls School District, I knew it was a large school district. I have to admit that it's larger than I was expecting. I did work in the Rosemount School District in Minnesota, which is probably a little larger than the Sioux Falls School District, but I was not at an administrative level there. And so just the amount of people that we're involved with and the amount of talent that the students have to work with here on a regular basis, and the support in the community, having everything in the community that they can turn to for additional support if they need it, is really fantastic. And I can't say I was surprised by that, but I'm extremely pleased with what I found in terms of the resources we have here to work with in Sioux Falls.
Absolutely.
It's really a perfect sized community to get a lot done, but not be so huge that you're just completely buried in the day-to-day of a large city. So it's really fantastic. So the size of it is what really caught my attention to start with, and frankly, all the resources we have here in the community to work with. South Dakota Symphony, was one of the first people that called me when I got here, and I'm amazed at the amount of outreach they have in our public schools. They offer the South Dakota String Quartet and the Wind Quintet to come do residencies and work with our kids in the schools, and that for free, no less. And that's just absolutely rare to hear of that anywhere.
I think that's one of the things that we often we assume that this is the way it is in every other community across the country, where there is that collaboration between the public schools and those other supportive entities. And I think it's one of the things we take for granted. Unfortunately, we don't recognize, as we should, what a powerful resource and together the collaboration that can occur and create additional success for those students who are moving through programs just by those community outreach opportunities.
Oh, absolutely. It's absolutely tremendous. We have in the school district this year a thing called, well, it's kind of like the online, it's called LinkedIn. We're going to have every elementary music student will be performing with the South Dakota Symphony. All the elementary students will be in the Washington Pavilion playing recorders along with the South Dakota
heavens.
Symphony. It's going to be
Recorders.
Yeah, we will we have 3 shows. In fact, it's not really a performance. It's more of them working together with the symphony and filling the pavilion 3 times with elementary students. If you can imagine how many kids that is, all playing the recorder at the same time with the South Dakota Symphony and the symphony conductor working with them. It's a neat experience, and we're very excited about that.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's a great opportunity for kids to provide or to participate in with those recorders, which as a mother of 3 recorder players, I know that's music, but it's early music on the recorders.
It is. Well, and they'll be playing special music with the orchestra. It'll be all kinds of things.
Oh, yeah.
And
I'm sure it'll be beautiful.
Unfortunately, we have so many kids involved. It's not an actual open concert.
Sure.
It's actually just a music education day, and they go and watch the symphony play and perform along with them.
Right. That's awesome that there's, again, that collaboration in our community.
Absolutely. I'm telling you, the people in a lot of other communities do not have those opportunities. It's really tremendous. We're excited for our children to be in the schools. So.
Absolutely. Wonderful. Well, you said you have children of your own?
Yes. Awesome. I have a kindergartner, just started this year, and I have a 3-year-old.
Okay.
I also have 2 in college, so I have 2 that are spread out quite a bit.
So are they musically inclined, or will they be participating in music in some way?
Yeah, they both are very musically inclined. One is a music education major.
Okay.
And the other one is currently undeclared, but she's involved in chorus and band while she's in college, and
Wonderful.
I suspect she'll end up as a music ed major, but we never know.
Sure, absolutely. Well, that's always it's a great, again, sort of a building experience for kids. If they don't know exactly what they're going to go into, having that expressive, instruction and that type of thing is great for whatever they end up doing.
Yep, and they learn how to interact, they learn how to create and work together, and that's the side benefit of learning the expressive side and learning the creative side, is you also learn the group dynamic.
Yeah, absolutely. So what does Dr. Perkins do when he doesn't do music? What else does he do?
I am an avid sailboat fan. I have a Hobie catamaran, and my wife and I sail. That's what we do.
Where do you sail in South Dakota?
Mostly on Lake Poncet,
which
is a very large lake, a glacial lake, but we'll pull it on a trailer and go anywhere we can put it in. We've sailed on Lake Kampesca and also on the Missouri River. Okay. So that's what we do. We race catamarans.
Is there a group? Maybe this isn't something I'll learn here today. Is there a large population of folks that race sailboats in South Dakota?
I wouldn't say it's a large population. We have actually a very good wind here for it.
Well, that is true. I will give you that.
But for example, on Lake Poncet, there is a club called the Lake Poncet Sailing Academy, and they sponsor a regatta every year, and they're just mostly a bunch of friends who get together and sail on weekends.
Wow.
So we're involved with them quite often. There's also a regatta that happens on Lake Kampesca and also on down in Yankton on the river too.
Okay. Well,
the Yankton is the biggest one.
Yeah. Well, how fun. I mean, that's something you enjoy doing, and it gets you away, but again, sort of an expressive opportunity where the wind is going to take you wherever it takes you, right?
Sailing's fantastic, yeah.
Have you ever had a misfortune on the sailboat?
Oh, it's very common to flip a catamaran.
Okay, so what problem-solving skills? That's probably given you some...
First thing you do is not get hurt when you go over. But then you have to figure out how to manipulate it in the wind and get it righted again and take off without it taking off without you.
Right.
So.
Well, it sounds like quite an experience, but probably one I'm not going to try on my own. So how did you get into something like that?
I grew up, my father was a sailor.
Okay.
And my brother also sails, so we have identical boats and we sail together quite often.
Who wins?
You know, I've actually won recently, but he's typically faster than I am. So when I race with him, I have to wait for him to make a mistake and hope that I don't make a mistake.
Okay.
Otherwise he'll beat me. So.
Okay, so you capitalize, work
I
on
do.
capitalizing
Yep.
on his misfortunes.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's my strategy.
Awesome. Well, back to the fine arts in that conversation. The level, as we talked about earlier, the level of students that we have here. I know some of the theatrical productions that they've done, and just all of that opportunity. It really is almost like they're high school students, but they do produce a professional quality or a semi-professional quality.
Sioux Falls has some of the finest fine arts programs you'll find. Mm-hmm. And a lot of that is our teachers and the passion that they put into it. They're very passionate and just givers. School teachers just give and give and give, and they're just great to be around. They're kind, and they just love to outpour and give their students everything they can. And that's really what makes them unique people. They're fantastic people.
Wonderful.
Yep.
Well, how many staff members do we have in the fine arts area? Is that a number you know off the top of
You
your
know,
head?
I'm only in month 3 here, but it's a lot. We have about 170.
Okay.
When you consider art and dance and theater and debate and music. Music has the most.
Sure.
Music has more public performances than any other, but really that's about how many it is.
Mm-hmm.
So
I know some of the high school productions that I've attended that are just amazing. You know, their stage presence. A student's stage presence, and just
mm-hmm.
that confidence. And maybe talk a little bit about that piece of confidence. Not only does it do something for you internally, but it helps you, as you said, express and become a communicator in so many ways.
When it comes to theater, a lot of the things they work on projecting the voice, mm-hmm. standing with good posture, mm-hmm. Acting, which means if you have a bad day, you don't always get to tell everyone you're having a bad day.
Right.
You have to have a good day no matter what, oftentimes, not always, but that's acting. I mean, you have to be able to exude confidence and project mm-hmm. your voice, and those are all strong leadership capabilities.
Absolutely.
People who can public speak in a way where they can be understood and heard mm-hmm. and confident.
Wonderful.
So those skills, in addition to the actual expressive point of theater and the artistic development of it, those are daily life skills they get from that, and
right.
it's really fantastic for them.
Well, we are coming up on the end of our time, and I know there's an opportunity that our students are going to receive mid-December that is unlike any other experience that we have provided to students in Sioux Falls in the past. Talk to us a little bit about some exciting news that you're working on. In fact, that first couple of weeks, you just dive right in and took over that. Tell us about that.
Okay, we have, it's the largest concert I've ever produced, and potentially the largest concert in Sioux Falls history. I don't have any way to check that, but we have close to 3,000 students. All of our middle school band, orchestra, and choir students will participate, in addition to the Sioux Falls Catholic Schools middle school strings, will participate in a Mark Wood, it's called the Electrify Your Symphony concert. And it's a full-blown rock orchestra concert with Mark Wood and 7 of his performers who will be there. Mark Wood is the founder of the Trans-Siberian Orchestra, who've been in Sioux Falls a couple times.
Yes.
Very famous. It's a rock orchestra. They're most famous for their Christmas productions, but they do way more than that. This event will have some holiday music in it, but it's also a lot of rock tunes that the kids will be playing. Mark Wood and his crew will be in residence. We talk about opportunities with our Sioux Falls kids for the week prior to the concert, working with them in the schools. And I've worked with him before. He's really fantastic. He's larger than life rock star. He turns heads when he walks. You know, he walks in, he plays electric violin, and he's got the leather and the long hair, and just rocks it with the kids, and will come away just absolutely charged up. We're hoping to fill the Premier Center. This is at the Denny Sanford Premier Center. Full-blown concert with lights, sound, and all the kids going. in addition to the Mark Wood's Experience Orchestra. And tickets are $20, and those are available through Ticketmaster.
Sure.
It's open to the general public in addition to the parents, and we think it'll be absolutely fantastic.
I can see that, you know, parents, of course, are going to be interested, grandparents, people who've grown up with that, the knowledge or have an understanding of the production value that comes with a Mark Wood production. Is there? I think there's going to be great excitement in the community for this.
Oh, and it'll be a tremendous concert too. It's not just a school demonstration concert. It's a full-blown rock concert. We're hoping to get some good video footage from it, and Mark Wood wants to use it. He does this all over the country with schools.
Sure.
But this is the largest one he's ever done.
That is fantastic. So he's using it as sort of a feather in his cap for,
he is.
for future things
He's
too.
hoping to really use it as a promotional item.
Wonderful.
For his future things.
What a great opportunity for kids. I mean, maybe they haven't had the experience in the past, but this will be something they'll never forget.
Well, to get to be involved in a live concert like that in front of a packed Denny Sanford Arena, can you imagine as a kid?
Yeah.
Very fun.
Pretty amazing.
Very good, yep.
Lifelong memory for sure. So one more time, remind people when that is. And
this is December 17th. Starts at 7 o'clock. You can get tickets at Ticketmaster. And for those of you who are familiar with Mark Wood and the Trans-Siberian Orchestra, he'll have some of that music with him and perform alone, and then he'll also have students involved with a huge portion of the concert. And once you combine all those students together with a group like that, it's really pretty neat.
awesome.
It's absolutely pretty neat,
Don't
the
miss
experience
that.
they'll have. Yes.
Don't miss that. Well, we hope you've learned something today about Dr. Boyd Perkins and his love and passion for the fine arts and how he's bringing that to the Sioux Falls School District. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your history prior to coming to Sioux Falls and all the things you'll do in the future.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us on Center Stage.
All right.